Beloved chosen one, a sound has gone forth from heaven. It is not the voice of man, nor the echo of routine messages. It is the vibration of eternity touching time. The atmosphere has shifted. The very air is trembling with divine urgency. The season of waiting is bending toward its fulfillment. Heaven has released a decree. This is the final invitation before the manifestation. For months, perhaps even years, you have stood in faith while circumstances mocked your endurance. You have prayed through midnight hours, believing in silence and yet still holding on. But something sacred is unfolding in the unseen. This is the moment heaven has been preparing you for, a divine convergence where promise meets performance. The scrolls of destiny have been unsealed, and your name has been read aloud before the throne. The angels have taken position, and the hosts of heaven are watching closely, for this week marks a threshold. The King of Glory is moving personally into the matter that has burdened your spirit. Do not take this lightly. This is not symbolic. The clock of divine timing is striking its final note of waiting. The invitation is open, but only for a moment. The trumpet has sounded once more, chosen one. Heaven is calling you into your hour of fulfillment. All of creation feels it. The heavens are tense with expectation. The earth itself groans in recognition of this holy approach. Every whisper of the wind carries the pulse of destiny. The prophetic atmosphere has thickened like the calm before a sacred storm. The veil between heaven and earth grows thinner by the hour. The messengers of light move through unseen corridors, carrying declarations sealed in divine fire. The Lord's presence is drawing near, not as an idea, but as a living visitation. There are moments in history when heaven intervenes directly, when eternity decides to visit time, and this is one of those moments. This is the week of alignment, the week where divine timing and human readiness collide. There is a reverent hush in the spirit realm, as if heaven itself is holding its breath, waiting for your response. The delay has reached its expiration. The appointed time is not coming. It is here. This is not a message for the curious. It is for the consecrated, for those who have not let go of faith despite feeling forgotten. The atmosphere around you is not ordinary. It is charged with divine electricity. Heaven is closer than your own breath. The heavenly court has reached its verdict. The time of intervention has come. This is not an angelic delivery, not a mere message of comfort. This is a visitation, a divine encounter orchestrated by God Himself. Throughout Scripture, there were moments when the Almighty stepped into human storylines personally, when He came down, not through intermediaries, but through His own manifest presence. Such a visitation is appointed for you, chosen one. Heaven is not discussing your case anymore. Heaven is enacting it. The Lord is not sending representation. He is arriving in person to settle what has been delayed. The hand that formed the heavens will touch your situation. The voice that spoke creation into being will speak directly into your storm. And when He speaks, every opposing force will bow. The adversary has no defense against divine presence. Friday has been marked in the calendar of eternity as your day of breakthrough, your day of delivery. This will be the day when unseen chains shatter, when what was held back for years is suddenly released. Heaven's agenda is written. God Himself will deliver it. Why now? Why this week? Because heaven's patterns are perfect. God's movements are never late. They are precise. Every delay had purpose. Every silence was a sacred pause, not an absence. The waiting refined you, tested your motives, purified your faith. Like gold in the furnace, you were being prepared to carry what you prayed for. The reason this moment is final is because divine order has completed its cycle. The number 7 represents completion, And Friday, the sixth day of creation, is the day God finished his work and declared it good. You are stepping into that same declaration. It is finished. What was once forming will now be finalized. Heaven has waited for your heart to reach readiness, for your obedience to reach fullness, and now it has. This is the week where your posture of faith meets divine execution. Do not look back in regret. Look forward in reverence. Heaven delayed so that the miracle would not just bless you, but define you. You were being shaped into the vessel capable of carrying the glory that's about to arrive. The door stands open, but only for a short while. This is not to inspire fear, but to awaken urgency. Heaven has appointed a final window before the door of delay closes forever. On Friday, divine completion will speak. What has been circling your life for years will either enter fulfillment or fade into the past. This is why heaven is calling for purity, focus, and faith. Every distraction must fall. Every voice of doubt must be silenced. You cannot afford to be casual in a moment so sacred. The Spirit of God is hovering over your life, ready to create again, to breathe into places that seemed beyond repair. This is your final call to align, to forgive, to release, to prepare. The same God who said, "At the right time I, the Lord, will make it happen," Isaiah 60:22, is now moving. This is that right time. Heaven is issuing the decree of fulfillment, and your name is written on it. The window is narrow, but it is open. Step through in faith before it closes. Chosen one. Heaven's movement is not random, it is rhythmic. Every promise carries a divine clock, and when that clock strikes the appointed hour, nothing can resist its sound. You are standing at the intersection where heaven and earth align, where spiritual decree meets physical manifestation. Angels are being dispatched with precision, carrying what was promised. You may feel tension in the atmosphere, and that tension is proof of transition. Creation groans when heaven is about to deliver. The heavens are vibrating with divine alignment. Events that seemed scattered are being drawn together like stars, forming a constellation. The places that felt disconnected will suddenly reveal purpose. Even the delays you mourned will become instruments of synchronization. You are not behind time. You are standing in exact alignment with it. The Lord has positioned you here in this hour because your obedience made room for divine order. As you remain steadfast, unseen forces are rearranging themselves to make space for your miracle. The calendar of destiny is turning its page. This is not the preparation anymore. This is the manifestation. The movement you sense is the evidence that the promise has found its gateway. Every chain forged in the dark will meet the light of divine intervention. For too long, certain patterns have circled your life, cycles of almost near victory yet not complete. But now, the breaker anointing is moving through your atmosphere. Every invisible restraint is trembling. What was tied to your past is losing its grip. The spiritual resistance that held your promise hostage is being confronted by the very presence of God. The Lord's authority is not delegated in this hour. It is direct. When his presence descends, no force can oppose it. The chains of fear, confusion, and financial captivity are being dissolved. Old disappointments are being overwritten by new decrees. The same power that split the sea for Moses is moving to split your obstacles. You will cross on dry ground, while your enemies sink beneath the weight of their own schemes. The shattering may not be loud in the natural, but in the spirit it is thunderous. The walls are falling, and the ground beneath your feet is becoming the stage of divine performance. The chains that once identified you will become testimonies of your liberation. Chosen one, the tide is turning. What once pressed against you will now propel you. There is a reversal happening in the unseen realm. The waters that once rose to drown you are about to carry your miracle to shore. The Lord is flipping the order. What was last will become first. What was denied will be restored. What was withheld will be multiplied. The spirit of renewal is hovering over the surface of your life, commanding chaos to produce creation. The forces that resisted your advancement are now losing their authority. This is divine recompense. You are entering into a season where loss becomes legacy. Every no from the past will now serve as proof of divine redirection. What once felt like punishment will reveal itself as protection. Heaven has declared a reversal decree. It will not end the way it began. You are not repeating seasons anymore. You are transitioning dimensions. This turning is irreversible. The tides of favor are shifting in your direction, and when the waves settle, you will stand on new ground. As heaven draws nearer, purity of expectation becomes essential. This is not the moment to be casual with what you believe. Expectation is a vessel, and God fills only what is clean and ready. Keep your faith unpolluted by doubt. Guard your atmosphere from the noise of fear. The presence of God responds to purity of heart and consistency of trust. In this final stretch before Friday, your posture matters more than your pace. Stay in worship. Stay in quiet surrender. The heavens are scanning for hearts that remain soft yet steadfast. This is not about perfection. It is about alignment. Do not be swayed by what you see. There will be distractions designed to make you question what you already know. Stand firm. The greatest attacks come before the greatest arrivals. Let your hope remain untouchable, your focus unbroken. Your miracle has already been dispatched. Your faith is the landing strip upon which it will descend. Heaven rewards expectancy that refuses to expire. Friday is not just another date, it is destiny wearing time as clothing. It represents divine completion and heavenly closure. It was on a Friday that redemption was fulfilled, and it is on this Friday that restoration will manifest. The vibrations of heaven are gathering around that day like a sacred storm waiting to break open. The Lord has marked it as a day of delivery. You may not see the full picture yet, but in the spirit, the clouds are heavy with rain. When heaven moves, it does so suddenly. Between now and Friday, the unseen will become visible, and what was spiritual will take form in the physical. Prepare yourself, for divine movement is near. Every unfinished chapter of your story is being written into resolution. Friday is the day where delay meets its expiration and destiny meets its dawn. Keep your spirit steady, your worship pure, your focus firm. The countdown has already begun. Heaven's messenger has spoken. The Lord himself is coming to deliver the long-awaited miracle. Chosen one, heaven's silence is breaking. The curtain that has long concealed your miracle is beginning to lift. What was once hidden in divine mystery is now stepping into manifestation. The breakthrough that felt far away is already in motion. In the realm of the Spirit, it has been released. Now it travels toward you through the corridors of time. The invisible is becoming visible. Every tear you cried has watered the soil of this moment. You did not realize that the prayers whispered in weakness were crafting the vessel that would carry the answer. Your faith has built the bridge between promise and fulfillment. Even now, subtle confirmations will begin to appear. Dreams, signs, alignments, heaven's quiet reminders that what you waited for is near. This is the unveiling season. The miracle is not coming from afar. It is rising from within your obedience, your endurance, your relentless belief that God still moves mountains. Watch carefully, for what seemed ordinary will suddenly reveal itself as extraordinary. Your miracle is no longer in incubation. It is in delivery. There are moments when heaven and earth overlap, when divine will invades human limitation. You are standing at the edge of such a collision. The realm of impossibility is dissolving before the authority of divine order. What was once bound by time is being loosed by eternity. The spirit of breakthrough is descending like a mighty wind, rearranging the very atmosphere around you. This is not only about external blessing, it is a complete realignment of realms. Heaven is reconfiguring your surroundings to match what it has decreed over your life. Opportunities, resources, and connections are being stirred to obey the divine timeline. The unseen hand of God is weaving details in your favor. What felt stagnant will begin to stir. What felt blocked will open of its own accord. The natural realm is catching up to what the supernatural has already decided. This is why the battle intensified. The enemy always fights most fiercely before the shift. But now the resistance is proof that realms are changing. Delay has been the great thief of your joy. It has whispered lies that God forgot you, that perhaps your promise was misheard. But heaven records every moment of endurance, and the time of repayment has come. The spirit of acceleration is being released to redeem the years that were lost. Where time was stolen, multiplication will replace it. You will not receive a fragment, you will receive fullness. Every closed door that was meant to harm you has preserved what was meant to bless you at the right hour. Now the right hour is here. Heaven's ledger is being balanced. Justice is meeting mercy. This is divine reversal. The Lord has declared that every delay must now serve as testimony, not torment. Even the waiting will work in your favor. You will see why it could not have happened sooner, because now when it unfolds, there will be no doubt who orchestrated it. The speed with which things shift will be breathtaking. What took years to build in the natural will be established in days under divine command. Delay is bowing to destiny. Chosen one. This movement is not just about receiving a promise, it is about restoring your belief in the nature of God. Many have prayed for miracles, but few have learned to trust through the silence. Yet you did, and because of that, your faith is being renewed in strength and purity. Heaven honors endurance. Your faith is not weak, it has been refined. Like a sword forged in fire, it has been shaped by resistance into something unbreakable. The Lord is restoring your confidence not just in what He can do, but in who He is. This restoration goes deeper than material blessing. It reaches the soul. The fatigue that weighed your spirit is lifting. The heaviness that dimmed your hope is dispersing. A fresh wind of trust is filling your lungs. You will breathe again in faith, not fear. You will dream again with clarity, not confusion. Faith is being resurrected in you, not as survival, but as authority. The same faith that carried you through the valley will now carry you into the promise. As the culmination approaches, heaven issues this instruction. Remain steadfast. Do not waver now. The enemy's final tactic is distraction. He will attempt to steal your focus in these last hours before fulfillment. Guard your peace as sacred ground. Continue in worship, for worship keeps the heart anchored when circumstances tremble. Keep your eyes on the unseen, for the visible will soon follow. The temptation to analyze, to predict, to control must be laid down. Your assignment is simple. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Every act of obedience, every seed of faith, every quiet prayer has prepared you for this convergence. You are closer than you have ever been. Do not speak words of fear. Speak words of alignment. Expectancy is your position, praise is your language, and stillness is your weapon. The manifestation is inevitable. Only steadfastness ensures you receive it fully. Heaven is leaning in. The hour of fulfillment draws near. Stand firm, chosen one. The final stretch of waiting is holy ground. Chosen one, All strands of destiny are weaving together. What once felt like scattered fragments of your journey, moments of joy, loss, trial, and revelation, are converging into divine coherence. Nothing was wasted. Every season carried a hidden thread of purpose. Now heaven is pulling those threads tight, forming a tapestry that will soon be revealed as testimony. The convergence is happening silently, like dawn breaking behind the horizon before the world awakens. Angels have gathered in precise formation around your destiny, ensuring nothing is misplaced. The prayers of past years, the intercessions of loved ones, the unseen cries of faith, they have all gathered in the same chamber of heaven's design. This is the season when scattered promises begin to harmonize. Even delays that once seemed disconnected now make sense in the larger rhythm of God's timing. The divine weaver has never dropped a thread. He is completing the picture, and when it is unveiled, you will see how intricately your life has been interlaced with grace. The convergence is not subtle, it is sovereign. The spiritual atmosphere is stirring like a mighty wind, assembling from every direction. This wind is not chaos, it is coordination. Heaven's breath moves with intention, gathering momentum as it prepares to sweep through the barriers that have stood too long. The winds of change, breakthrough, and healing are merging into one current aimed directly at your circumstances. These are not ordinary breezes. They are the same winds that parted seas and carried prophets into new realms. When they arrive, they leave nothing unchanged. The stagnation that lingered in your life will be uprooted. The air will clear with sudden clarity. In the natural, you may feel restlessness, a holy anticipation without explanation. That is the sign of the gathering winds. The movement is not to disrupt you, but to position you. Heaven stirs before heaven settles. The wind announces his nearness, for whenever God moves, creation responds. Prepare to feel the weight of calm that follows the storm, heaven's order replacing human striving. When heaven descends, earth must respond. Even creation itself trembles when divine presence draws near. Earthquakes of alignment are happening beneath the surface. Systems, relationships, and pathways are shifting to make room for fulfillment. What looks like shaking is not destruction. It is rearrangement. Mountains of resistance crumble so that valleys of grace can rise. The Lord is establishing his foundation under your feet. The ground that once felt uncertain is being fortified by divine decree. The trembling you sense in your spirit is evidence of proximity, heaven's footsteps approaching. Do not fear the shaking. It is the sound of barriers breaking. Every tremor is a prophecy of stability. Soon you will stand on ground that no opposition can erode. The very earth beneath your life is being consecrated for new beginnings. You will look back and realize that the trembling was not the end, but the overture to glory. Light is breaking through layers of confusion. A new brightness is being released from heaven's throne, cutting through the shadows that once obscured your path. Revelation is flowing like dawn after a long night. What was hidden in mystery will soon stand in clarity. The illumination of heaven exposes not to shame, but to reveal direction. Divine light reveals purpose, outlines boundaries, and ignites calling. Many who have walked in uncertainty will suddenly know where to step next. The brilliance of God's guidance is gentle yet absolute. It does not blind, it clarifies. Even now, this light is touching memories, decisions, and dreams that once felt clouded. The fog of indecision is lifting. The holy presence brings illumination that reveals both promise and path. You will not stumble in this next season. The radiance of heaven will accompany your every move. Before heaven speaks in thunder, it first whispers in silence. The stillness that now surrounds you is not emptiness, it is expectation. All of heaven pauses in reverence just before divine manifestation. This is the sacred hush between prophecy and performance, between promise and proof. The atmosphere holds its breath because the next sound to be heard will be fulfillment. Do not mistake quietness for inactivity. The greatest miracles are born in moments when everything seems still. Heaven's hand is poised above your life, ready to release what has been prepared. You stand at the edge of divine unveiling, where eternity leans over time. The silence is sacred. It is heaven's heartbeat syncing with yours. Soon the stillness will break into celebration, and every waiting hour will make sense. For now remain in awe, for the silence is the final sign that manifestation is moments away. Beloved, as the currents of heaven gather strength, your greatest instruction is stillness. The human impulse is to move, to plan, to fix. But heaven now says, be still and watch. This is not passive waiting. It is active surrender. Stillness is trust expressed without words. Watchfulness is faith wearing armor. Guard your heart from restlessness, for agitation invites doubt, and doubt disrupts divine flow. Begin each morning with quiet acknowledgement. I trust you, Lord. This is your declaration of alignment. When you still yourself, you signal to heaven that you are ready for divine activity. Listen more than you speak, observe more than you question. The Spirit is communicating through subtle impressions, dreams, moments of conviction, sacred silences. Do not dismiss them as coincidence. Heaven is precise. The Lord is closer than breath, orchestrating details you cannot yet perceive. Be like a watchman on the wall, alert but calm, knowing the dawn is inevitable. The miracle is not summoned by striving but by surrender. In this sacred countdown, you must guard your gateways, what you hear, see, and speak. The enemy understands timing. He cannot stop your miracle, but he will try to distract your focus before it arrives. Be vigilant. What enters your mind will shape what manifests in your life. Avoid voices that sow fear, confusion, or cynicism. Choose words of faith. Let your mouth become a gate of blessing. Speak only what aligns with heaven's decree, for your confession creates atmosphere. The same tongue that worships must not wander into worry. Likewise, protect what you see, turn your eyes from chaos, and fix them on what is pure and life-giving. These final days are not for entertainment, but for enlightenment. Feed your spirit with worship, with scripture, with moments of quiet gratitude. When you guard your gateways, you preserve spiritual clarity. Distraction is the thief of destiny. Guard the entrance to your soul like a sacred temple, and the presence will remain undisturbed. Chosen one, your greatest weapon now is worship. Worship is not music. It is posture, reverence that invites divine habitation. When you worship, heaven draws near because it recognizes its own sound in you. Worship transforms anxiety into adoration, and that shift changes everything. Begin to thank God, not for what you see, but for what He has already released. Gratitude opens gates that complaint closes. In these final days before fulfillment, lift your voice in steady praise. Speak the promises aloud. Remind your heart of His faithfulness. When you worship, the enemy loses his footing, because worship confuses darkness. It cannot exist where light is exalted. Let your home, your atmosphere, your thoughts become sanctuaries of sound. Even a whisper of "Thank you, Lord," carries the frequency of heaven. Do not wait for the miracle to worship. Worship is what brings it near. When the Lord finds you praising through silence, He marks you for manifestation. Before heaven releases blessing, it sanctifies the vessel. Let your heart be that vessel. Forgive freely, release offenses, and empty yourself of bitterness. Unforgiveness is spiritual clutter. It obstructs divine flow. You cannot receive with closed fists. Ask the Spirit to reveal what needs release, names, memories, disappointments, and let them go. The heart that forgives becomes a magnet for favor. Cleansing is not punishment. It is preparation. The miracle you seek requires space within you to dwell. The Lord is not withholding, He is ensuring there is room. Every act of forgiveness builds capacity for new glory. Speak mercy even toward those who misunderstood your season. Let grace be your language. Heaven honors humility, and nothing positions you faster for breakthrough than a purified heart. When you let go of offense, you let in the presence. And where the presence abides, miracles manifest effortlessly. Expectation is the bridge between now and the manifestation. Faith is not a feeling, it is posture, conviction, stance. Expect as if it has already arrived. Each time you doubt, remind yourself, He who promised is faithful. Expectation releases spiritual energy. It tells heaven, I'm ready to receive. Prepare practically too. Make room for the miracle. Write the vision. Clear the schedule. Ready your environment for answered prayer. Expectation is not fantasy. It's partnership. Heaven meets readiness with response. As you hold steady in faith, speak the promise daily. At the right time, the Lord will make it happen. The right time is now approaching. Keep your anticipation pure. Hope anchored in trust, not urgency. Faith does not chase, it attracts. The fragrance of belief draws divine movement. Expect, but do not demand. Wait, but do not waver. Heaven has scheduled your miracle. You simply need to be in position when it arrives. The hours are being measured in heaven's rhythm now, not by clocks, but by purpose. Each sunrise shortens the distance between promise and appearance. The countdown has already begun, not as a threat, but as a holy announcement. Friday approaches like a crown of completion, the day when divine intention will step fully into view. The unseen hosts are already rehearsing the song of fulfillment. There is a stirring in the atmosphere, soft, steady, sure. Do not mistake the quiet for delay. It is the final alignment of details that only God could orchestrate. When destiny is this near, time itself feels different. Moments stretch, hearts quicken. The soul senses what the eyes cannot yet see. Every breath carries the pulse of heaven's approach. The countdown is sacred because it teaches reverence. Let each remaining hour become an altar of gratitude. Speak softly to yourself. It is almost here. The Lord is finishing what He began. Friday is not just coming, it is unfolding. Chosen one, you stand at a threshold. Behind you lies endurance. Before you waits fulfillment. The space between is thin as breath, holy as fire. This is the Jordan moment where faith must step first before the waters part. You will feel the edge of transition, the trembling of the unknown, but step forward anyway. Every miracle requires movement. Every promise demands participation. Do not look for signs of failure. Look for evidence of completion. Heaven has already built the bridge. You simply need to walk across it. The unfamiliar will become familiar as soon as you obey. Friday represents that crossing, a point where old patterns end and new beginnings emerge. As you advance, the ground will rise beneath your feet. What was impossible yesterday will support you today. This crossing is irreversible. Once you pass through, nothing from the former season can claim you again. Step lightly, step reverently, step ready. The threshold is holy ground. There is assurance echoing through heaven's corridors. The Lord Himself will accomplish it. You are not responsible for outcomes, only for obedience. Fear not the unknown. It is known perfectly by the one who guides you. The divine hand that led you here will not withdraw at the moment of fulfillment. The same grace that sustained you in waiting will sustain you in receiving. This assurance should steady your heartbeat, still your racing thoughts, and quiet every what if. The Lord does not begin and abandon. He begins and completes. You may sense tension in the air. That is simply creation preparing to witness completion. Angels have recorded every prayer. Heaven lacks no detail concerning you. Stand beneath that assurance like a tree rooted in calm soil. Nothing can prevent what heaven has decreed. When the appointed hour strikes, it will unfold naturally, beautifully, beyond your calculation. Rest in the certainty that divine love never delivers halfway. Heaven releases a benediction over your life, a blessing that seals what has been spoken. It whispers peace, completion, fulfillment. This benediction is not the end. It is the beginning of manifestation. The Spirit of God hovers over your destiny, pressing signature upon promise. You may not hear a trumpet, but heaven does. The sound of arrival has already echoed through eternity. As you breathe, remember, every sigh of surrender has reached the throne. Every tear has become an offering. The benediction of fulfillment rests upon you like gentle rain. Receive it without striving. Let gratitude replace anxiety. Let peace silence urgency. This blessing carries permanence. What God seals cannot be stolen. Carry it lightly, humbly, joyfully. The fulfillment will arrive quietly, yet undeniably, like dawn breaking upon still water. Heaven smiles upon you, chosen one. The decree has been spoken, the benediction released. Now let every heart become still. In the hush of this sacred moment, lift a quiet prayer. Lord, thank you for every delay that prepared me, for every silence that shaped me, for every promise that now comes to life. I welcome your perfect timing. I rest in your presence. I receive the completion you ordained. Let this be your final act before fulfillment, thanksgiving. Gratitude opens the final gate. Breathe deeply. The air around you carries evidence of answered prayer. The season of waiting bows to the season of witness. Heaven and earth agree it is done. Stand in reverence, not rush. Friday will reveal what faith has already secured. As the light of a new day breaks, may peace crown your heart. May joy become your language. And may the glory of God surround you like morning sun. The miracle is not distant, it is here. The promise is not pending, it is present. Amen.